Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm with Superintendent Dick Glock. How are you doing?
Hey,
good to see you
Tom.
back, and good to see you back so soon.
I know.
But we wanted to stay on top of that story so everybody knew what was happening.
Sure.
And of course, we were talking about some realignment at the junior high level, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, right?
Yes, 6, 7, and 8. Actually, and I can't remember exactly where we were on our last conversation, but option 3 was what we're looking at,
Right.
which would leave everything the same as it is this year and give us some planning time. And that's what the board elected to do at their last meeting, was to go with option 3 tentatively, and they wanted to see some more detail at this Wednesday night's meeting at the Jackson Civic Center.
Okay, so it seemed to me like when we had met last time that options 1 and 2 were pretty much taken off the table, and we just wanted to look at 3.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, do you think 1 and 2 or portions of that might come back, or are they pretty much, like I said, gone?
Well, they're gone for right now, but we're going to create a study committee, and I think
Okay.
we talked a little bit about that. That's what came out of our last meeting, really, was I think parents do realize, and community members, that we probably have more facilities than we need. And we're not alone, and I brought the article
Right.
that was in just this last Sunday in the Sacramento Bee. And so sometimes here, in any job, you get to thinking you're the only ones that are going through
Sure,
it.
you tend to only see as far as you can see, right?
Yeah,
but this is a demographic problem, and it's a demographic problem, so it's going to speak to the whole state and probably to the nation as well. Maybe other states
Yeah, it's a
might
little
have
bit
more students,
different,
but,
right? It's
but
a little
here in
bit
California,
different.
we're losing students.
Yes, we are. And what it showed in the article was that our neighbors have lost anywhere from 20% up to a third, up to 33% of their students in the last 5 or 6 years. I know somebody that wasn't mentioned, and it's a little further south, was West Point, and I talked to a former teacher there, and he said 10 years ago they had 275 students, and now today they have 80. So this business of, it's a maturing population. In the article they say an aging population, and the jobs moving.
Let's leave it there for now, and we'll talk more right after the break. Stay with us here with Superintendent Dick Glock.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back. And I'm speaking with Superintendent of the Amador City School District, Dick Glock. How you doing, Dick?
Yes,
we're back, and we're ready, and we were talking about the oldering generation. I guess we're getting up there. I certainly am. But now the demographic is different. It's different statewide. Why don't you give us what the demographics are suggesting?
Well, the demographics, of course, is one of the causes, according to this article, as well as what we believe here.
And by the way, the
county.
article's out of the Sacramento Bee. Sacramento Region Rural Schools see rapid enrollment declines. And that was in the March 3rd.
Right,
So-
and they also cited the same thing you did when we went on in the very first episode with the declining birth rate.
I think that graph really spoke a lot to a lot of people. We should almost always have some graphs around this. Pictures really, speak for 1,000 words pretty easily. And that graph certainly showed how declining the rate was. It was
significant.
It's quite.
significant.
Okay. If
So
we could hit it
those
again,
two
Alan,
things-
put that graph up again.
Yes.
But, okay,
well,
go ahead.
something that we haven't really talked about so much, but we know it's a factor here, is the rising gas prices. And at the same time we were losing some businesses, some significant businesses, the gas prices were also going up over $4 and even approaching $5 at one point. We might have even paid $5, but regardless, those gas prices really keep younger families from commuting into Sacramento and Stockton with the same regularity that they did before.
Right.
Well, so what's the upshot of all this? We try to keep things the same, really,
Right.
organizationally, so that there's some predictability and parents know, hey, this is what's going to happen as you come through the system. And so we've, as we talked about last time, we've compensated with staffing. And this superintendent, one of them is quoted in this article that they say, we've kept programs longer than we should. And we clearly fall into that,
Right.
but we want to maintain a quality educational program. So it's always a double-edged sword. And we don't have all the things that we'd like to have, like vocal music or
Right.
some of the other.
You're also not like the private sector that, reads, takes all that stuff into consideration and goes like, if we don't get this under control quick, we'll be closing our doors. Everybody will be gone, or things like that. Whereas if you are in the government sector, and certainly educating the kids is in there, that isn't seen as critical. As critical as it is for businesses, because businesses don't know how to make people give them money.
Right, that's exactly right. And it talks about this here. We had a member in one of our parent meetings that talked about, community member, that said, I'm here to try to protect my little piece of the county. Well, everybody would like to maintain their sense of independence. And this article pointed out that there were school services suggested 23 options for consolidation in El Dorado County.
Wow.
All but 2 of those have been flat out rejected, and the 2 that are still being entertained are just in conversation. So pretty much like what we've been doing for 5 or 6 years is to how can we keep things the same with less resources. And, we've been too successful at that in one case because people are, I think, for the most part, very satisfied. Everybody would maybe like to improve this or that, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think just like the private sector, I talk to people all the time with businesses, and, everybody's kind of hunkered down, but we're all saying, but it's got to get better. Somehow it's got to get better. And certainly you're probably looking at that in the same way. Of like, well, if the economy picks up, everything will, we'll be able to continue as we're going, but that doesn't seem to, certainly isn't happening. We don't seem to be getting any better.
No, that's exactly right. In fact, we've been reduced more, but next year, for the first time, there's no further cuts, and we actually are getting about $400,000 of deferred money, that we should have had several years ago. Keep in mind, we've been cut or deferred $5.8 million. So some of that is starting to come back to us. The governor's saying in his proposal that, okay, Prop 30 in 7 years is going to take you from $5,000 a student to $9,000. So one of our parents accurately pointed out, look, this could be the worst year before the upturn.
Okay.
Now, we can't build our budget on hope, or we can't build it on a proposal by the governor. It's like, what is actually in the coffers? That's what we've got to build our budget on. So that's where we get stuck a little bit. There's just so much uncertainty, along with, there's some guarded optimism. But once again, you can't build your budget on guarded optimism.
Okay, so you're putting a committee together?
Yes.
Tell us, has anybody stepped forward to be on that committee?
Yes. We've had board members that have received contacts, and we have, as we've gone around. In researching the state statutes, we've discovered that if you actually closed a school, you can only have 7 to 11 members on this committee. So we've been thinking maybe we'd have 5 members from every community, and we may have to have subgroups, because if we're not planning to close the school at all, but if coming out of that there's a suggestion we've got to have followed the state law. So interestingly enough, there is state law that says you can have no fewer than 7 committee members and no greater than 11.
Okay.
So
So
we're
the
going to be
decision
talking
makers will be
about.
somewhere into that.
Well, the decision makers will still be the governing board.
Okay.
But we'll probably have to have subcommittees off of that 7 to 11 committee.
Okay, now when are these committees going to start their work?
Well, right after we determine,
Who's
where
on
we're
it?
headed. Yeah, where we're headed with it. The governing board will talk about that Wednesday night, day after tomorrow.
How are they going to meet and get information, or how are they going to?
Well, and the statutes also recommend that the governing board just be reported to and that the superintendent stay out of it. I had really thought I'd probably be at most of these meetings, but the recommendation is that you not be there so that it truly is, and everybody realizes it's an unbiased sort of report. Now, same old story. Some of that's good, and some of it's kind of nice to know the background and history of what you're dealing with. So, on the one hand, it's a presentation of facts, and but then you also have to look at how people are affected, and particularly kids, of course.
Okay, and they're basically going to be looking around. Is there certain areas that are more focused than others, or is this going comprehensive for the whole?
Comprehensive,
ACUSD?
yeah, comprehensive for the whole district.
Okay, and we have about 30 seconds left. You want to tell people where they could maybe go to the meeting tonight? I mean, no, Wednesday. Is
Wednesday.
that going to be opportunity to get
Sure.
on board this committee?
Any of our governing board meetings are an opportunity to voice concerns or questions. And Wednesday night, we are moving from the county office building to the Civic Center.
Dick, one more thing. Can people who don't have kids in the school system be on this committee as well?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And is it, how about some city politicians? Are they allowed, or should you just want
Yes,
citizenry?
it should be a wide
range?
wide range of people, and you're trying to truly represent the county. So, you I suppose try to minimize any one. We're not interested in just pressure groups.
Okay.
We're truly interested in, okay, given the parameters we have, how can we deliver the best educational system
Okay.
to those students?
Okay. Dick, we got to
Hey,
go. Thanks for
you bet.
coming by.
All right.
Superintendent Dick Glock. Stay with us. We'll be back right after the break.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.